Good afternoon. My name is Nikhil Shah. I'm the Director of Software Engineering at Cardinal Health. Before we get started, I need your help. So with show of hands, if you don't mind, how many of you here participate in any form of automated testing today? Quite a bit. Excellent. Another question. Is that testing a separate phase or something that happens throughout the cycle? If it's separate phase, raise your hands if you don't mind. Okay, it's 50%. Great. Cardinal Health is a global integrated healthcare services and products company. We are experiencing very high transaction volumes. Order flow is very important to us. We are always looking for ways to drive down costs and increase the speed of business so that we can serve our customers and our patients better every day. Why automated testing? Well, there are three fundamental trends that are shaping the way we do work. Cloud, we are finding, is that it's changing the way we do our environment. It's enabling and unlocking speed like we have never seen before. Agile delivery is becoming the norm. We want to fail fast. We want to deliver changes quickly. And finally, adopting the DevOps culture, we are seeing that the way we work as a team is changing. The concept of product team is forcing us to relook at how we deliver on our business objectives. We aspire for a future where we can simply press a button and get work done. So automated testing allows us to then hit all the sweet spots in these three areas. Our approach to automation had four critical elements to it. We developed partnerships with industry partners who would help us deliver on automated build and run services. We established an automation COE that was tasked with implementing Worksoft, developing standards, providing governance, and help train the enterprise. We migrated our previous automation solutions to Worksoft. And finally, we updated our methodology to promote the idea that automation is really everybody's job. What we are finding is that Worksoft Capture, Analyze, and Certify is making automation very accessible. Previously, that was not so much the case. Our automation goals focused around 5 themes. We truly wanted to shift left. We wanted to automate early. We wanted to automate often. That was a bit of a change for us because previously we got caught up in thinking, what was the automation phase? What was the ROI? And now we are thinking, you want to automate early. That requires you to rethink how you approach testing. We wanted to then integrate automated testing within our build and deploy processes so that we can enable continuous testing as a way to drive speed further. So we have to build the blocks first before we can bring everything together. We wanted to improve our time to value by using the capability that Lights Out provides, because Lights Out enables us to execute things faster. We wanted to contribute to our hyper-automation strategy that the entire company has undertaken. So a lot of different departments are using different technologies and tools as a way to drive significant amount of automation, and Worksoft fits right in. And as I said earlier, we wanted to look for ways to drive down costs and improve the consistency of our services. So I want to share with you a snapshot of our journey. So we have been doing automation for a while. With Worksoft, we started doing automation in SAP space in August. Before that, we were building foundations for it. And so we started slowly, and we started covering as much as we could. And what we are seeing is that when we started in August, we were hitting about 40% coverage. By the time April rolled through, we had accomplished over 90% coverage in automated testing, which is huge for us. To be able to execute that much testing with that much speed allows us to do a lot more things in a compressed amount of time that we have available to ourselves. If you will look at some of the columns, the total number of script counts are going up. So now we are able to test a lot. Along with it, we have automated quite a bit as well. So you can see that our automation coverage is really driving significant amount of higher quality conversations that we have with our developers and others. Because when we detect those defects, we are better at detecting those defects because we are covering quite a bit. So we are seeing some really good early successes in driving high degree of automation. What that means to us is that the way we work is actually changing. When you do so much automation, you have to plan a lot more. What we found in our April snapshot is that our team was spending 66% of the time in planning and only 33% in execution. That was a big change for us. Before, this wasn't the case. What we are hopeful for is that as we get mature in automating more and more of our work, we will see further decrease in our execution times. And that's what we want. We want to be able to plan better upfront, get integrated with our development partners, and start early so that when the execution time comes along, we can execute things faster. One of the spillover effects of faster execution is that others who are there to support you during testing, they don't need to spend as much time supporting you as well. So you see the benefits of not only faster execution, faster speed of testing, lower cost of testing, but others on whom you have to spend money to support you, that cost goes down as well because your commitment of resources is not that great compared to what it was before. So we are seeing some good outcomes right now. Hopeful that we will see better outcomes in future. So the benefits that we have realized, these are early benefits, but we are seeing that the regression testing cycles, we're able to reduce them from 5 weeks to 3 weeks in some areas. Automation coverage, as I mentioned earlier, we were able to drive them up to over 90% in most areas where we have applied Worksoft. We are seeing 66% reduction in the actual effort of regression, which is quite a bit. Interestingly, we are also seeing some benefits of applying Worksoft in creative ways when we do mass configuration work. So technically, that is really not testing work, but it's part of our cycle. And so we have used Worksoft to set up company codes, plants in SAP, and we are seeing benefits where up to 85% work has been reduced as a result of using Worksoft for doing that kind of work. So these are some really good early benefits that we are seeing as we have undertaken this journey. Our initial observations are that, if you use Worksoft Capture and Analyze properly, it allows us to then really make true on our mantra that automation is really everybody's job. Capture, Analyze, Certify, they have different type of capabilities, technical requirements, but Capture and Analyze are fairly simple to use. And so previously, automation was done by a niche group of people. Now, with these additional tools, we are able to bring the larger team into the automation journey. So we are actually able to make true on our own mantra and our own promotion that automation should be everybody's job. Everybody should be contributing to automation. Everybody should start thinking about automation early. So these are our initial observations. We are seeing some good successes with it. Lights out mode testing, the interesting thing about lights out mode is that not only does it run fast, but because we are able to do significant amount of testing in a small amount of time, the defects that we would have caught later on, now we are finding some of those defects early. It could be environmental issues. It could be something that typically pops up later if you don't have a high degree of automation. With lights out mode, now we can rely a lot more on because your data is contained within your tests. You are executing tests at a faster pace. So a lot of the variance that we were seeing before, that's kind of gone away. So that is helping us a little bit. We're seeing higher volumes of testing and greater speed. In one area, we have enabled lights out testing where we were able to execute up to 600 automated tests in an hour. This was not possible before. So this is a really good example of where we can have a broad coverage and a sizable amount of automation that can be run in a short period of time. To run this much testing in manual world is going to not work. It's not possible. So this is a really good example of some successes that we are seeing. Test data management capability has improved for us because now it forces you to be more planful, more disciplined about how you execute testing. The quality of the data that goes into your automation improves as well. The situation we used to have earlier where sometimes the data wasn't right, sometimes it was erroneously entered into the system during tests, sometimes people would make data up and it would work, or sometimes it wouldn't work. And we ended up in situations where we would have data defects. And those data defects, sometimes they were correct, and sometimes they were just our own making. And then we would have to just scrap the defect and pick another set of data and go execute the tests. So if you think about using a systematic way of executing tests and injecting a lot of high quality data up front in your system, now it automatically improves your own test data management capability. You're planning early, you're thinking about all the data that you need, how the data is going to pass between different tests. So it helps us build some good fundamental capabilities in test data management as well. And we are seeing some good potential for robotic process automation. So just as we tried Worksoft with mass configuration, we also tried Worksoft in automating business processes that our end users are using. And those are fairly lengthy and cumbersome. And we have experienced some good successes through our proof of concept. If it goes through, we are seeing some benefits of using Worksoft as an RPA tool, along with some of the other ones that we have invested in. So these are some initial observations of our experience with Worksoft where we see a lot of promise. So key learnings so far. I'd like to start by saying that all business is people business. If you look at all of the lessons we have learned, it involves people aspect of it everywhere. Traditional roles are changing. We talked a little bit about agile. There's a lot of focus on T-shaped resources, which means the developers now are thinking like testers. Testers have to think in terms of developing automated tests. So the world is coming together very nicely, but it is changing things quite a bit for some of the traditional roles. For some people, it's a very exciting time. For others, the learning curve is rather steep. So you have to think about how using high degree of automation is going to affect your workforce. It's very important. Executive sponsorship is really, really essential for us to be successful. Without executive sponsorship, you will not find having the time, the money you need, space you need to try different things. And maybe make some mistakes. And if you make mistakes, at least it's a good thing that you learn from. Then you won't feel like you are on a hot seat. So having an executive sponsorship is really important. For us, I'd alluded to the fact that we have a hyper automation approach. This fits in within that. So we feel that having that umbrella through which we look at how we are doing through automation helps us quite a bit. There is a lot of curiosity, a lot of eagerness on how we are doing, how fast we are moving forward. Automation COE, I referenced that earlier a little bit. That was a more technical aspect of what the team did. I think what's important to realize with automation COE is that it's a team of really intelligent, passionate people who love this work. And so to form a team with that type of capability is really important because you want this team to drive your work forward. They have to embrace technology. They have to want to share the knowledge with the rest of the enterprise. When they train the enterprise, they have to think in terms of how they're going to make others successful. Part of building standards, part of providing governance is also teaching the enterprise on how best to use the tools and the technology to get the job done. So as much as automation COE has a very time-bound and defined deliverables, it's a group of people that you have to make sure are passionate about the work that they do. So that's another aspect of people that is very important. Strong collaboration with partners is really, really fundamental. We work very closely with different partners in the industry. Worksoft is one of them. And without that partnership, without having the collaboration, without relying on each other's strengths, having common goals, this would not be possible because we are able to extend our reach significantly when we work with our partners to make these things happen. And leading your team through this change requires a change management process that you must adopt. If you throw a tool at a team of people, it's not going to work. Some people may take to it, others may push back a little bit because you haven't really thought through what it means to work differently. And the change management itself is a very methodical process. You have to define your change. You have to be able to say what your end state looks like. And you have to go through the entire change management curve to make sure that people are doing it right. Some will do really well. Others are going to struggle a little bit. And it's okay. You have to recognize that you will have somebody that is at the tail end of this. They maybe are learning slowly. So you have to have this sense of urgency, but you have to balance that with some patience. Because as long as people are learning, as long as you have put some thought into how you want to apply change, as long as you take a phased approach, you make some mistakes, you learn from it, the chances are that you will be significantly faster at moving forward with your change. If you bypass some of this stuff and if you just say, here's the tool, go have it, use it, the early adopters may have some successes, but the rest of the enterprise is going to struggle a little bit. So that's why I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have a change management process as part of applying new tools and technology to drive automation forward. With that, it looks like we have a few minutes. We're ending the session early, so I know you all have to go someplace else, but if you want to connect with me in the discussion area, I'd be more than happy to talk to you one-on-one. Thank you.